Hey everybody, this is your boy EnlightenedJiku here. We're going to be talking about today Infinity Wars and, well, pretty much the movie compared to the comic back in 91 where Thanos pretty much he gets the gauntlet and all of the stones before anybody can really stop him. Now, we're really not going to get into how Thanos got the gauntlet, more of like the battle during him having the gauntlet and how useless everybody was when it came to actually fighting this dude. No one had a chance, and everybody gets murdered. So let's begin. Now to start, we're just gonna jump. Like I said before, we're just gonna straight into it. The portion that we're gonna be talking about to start is when Death really starts, trying to empathize with Death. Thanos wants Death as his lover, and Death is being followed around she's being followed around by, I'm guessing, like a servant of hers. She pretty much looks dead, but anything that Thanos does, Death isn't speaking to her. Well, isn't speaking to him, it's speaking through her. And she pretty much states off the bat, you're superior. Your love is bondage. And he states, my love is worship. Now, throughout these, you'll see more and more like depictions of that, and you'll see exactly what I mean. Now, after that whole spew, he says, hey, you know what? I haven't been doing my part. I haven't really been showing Death how much he means to me. So he snaps, and boom, creates this whole, I guess, more like a shrine for Death. And, she isn't impressed. He says, hey, you and me, we can become great. We can rule over the cosmos together. And she denies it. Mephisto, this guy in red here, he's one of the devils of the MCU. He's talking in Thanos' ear this whole time, like, hey, you're gonna have to keep doing more. You're gonna have to show Death how much exactly you mean to her. You have to prove that you're worthy of her love. So, Thanos thinks it's a good idea and does this to not his daughter in this sense, but more of his granddaughter, Nebula. He turns her pretty much into the living embodiment of life and death, pretty much like the borderline in between. And she's put into this catatonic state where she struggles to do basic functions like walking, living, and breathing. Something that we do naturally was a struggle for her. And he presented this to Death. She did not like it. Not at all. And, Death's, I guess, like mistress, whoever this lady is, tells Thanos that, and he gets pissed and just murks her. She explodes on sight. Just raw anger. Now, that really didn't faze anyone. Everybody just kind of continues on. And then Mephisto starts talking about how, actually, it wasn't Mephisto. Well, yeah, Thanos starts going on like, hey, I'm not doing my part. You asked me to go on a conquest to attain the well, not necessarily attain the gauntlet, but to wipe out half of all life in the universe. And he does this in one simple snap. Now, on Earth, a lot of these people don't know what's going on. We'll start off with Spider-Man, who is kind of just going throughout New York City like he normally does, and is doing his daily rounds, kind of just like patrolling the city, and his body sense just starts going apeshit, and he doesn't know what's going on. Out of nowhere, half of the people on Earth just disappear. Well, pretty much in front of him disappear, and he's freaking out. He realizes, hey, something huge is going on, and he freaking floors it and is looking for Mary Jane. Now, this next panel, we'll start talking about the Avengers. Now, Captain America here is in in the Avengers Tower, kind of just doing his thing, and he's starting to see people that he's surrounded by just vanish. Out in space, Nick Fury, he's with Shield and whatnot, and he's starting to realize that something is going down as well. We pan over to the Hulk. He's in a bar and he's talking about how, he's watching the news and pretty much it's just talking about how people are just disappearing all over the world. And it's really just showing how everybody is realizing that, something happened that we don't know, and it's probably not going to be explained anytime soon within just a couple of pages. Now, if you remember in the movie Infinity War, when pretty much the beginning, when Thanos was fighting the Hulk, right? Hulk got pretty much his ass handed to him, and pretty much stayed away for the rest of the movie. Now, right before that ship was exploded, Heimlock actually sent the Hulk back to Earth to warn our heroes. Now, in the comic, it wasn't necessarily the Hulk. It was actually Silver Surfer. Now, Silver Surfer, pretty much almost exactly like the movie, lands through the ceiling and in Doctor Strange's home. And from there, he starts letting him know, hey, they're dying. Billions and billions of people throughout this whole multiverse are just blinking out of existence, and we have to stop them. Now, we'll go through and I'll kind of explain who these characters are, because you probably aren't familiar with them. If you haven't been with comics for a while, we have Drax the Destroyer, Star-Lord, Fire-Lord, and we have Eros. Now, Eros is actually the brother of Thanos, and just like how everybody else is starting to realize that, hey, something's going on, same here. But Eros automatically knows, hey, Thanos, my brother, has something to do with this. And then that's the end of pretty much of the first Infinity Gauntlet comic. Now, we start the next comic pretty much just here at the cover. And the Avengers are pretty much seeing and kind of cataloging who's disappearing and who's still around. And unlike the MCU cinematic universe, we have a lot more variety of people to talk about. Now, we have She-Hulk here on the cover. Thor, he isn't Odin's son Thor. He is human. So we'll see later on in this video the difficulties he's having trying to fight as a human who, was granted the title of Thor. Now, this next panel pretty much shows and goes throughout, at this point, the Kree. Shows how they're being affected, and to be honest, how they're thinking it's the Skrulls. We go to, pretty much after that scene, we go back to Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is in his home, and he is completely just pulled out of his body by this unknown entity. Now, if you've been looking online, watching other videos, at this point, you probably realize that the guy that took him is Adam Warlock. Now, Adam Warlock starts off, hey, you probably won't trust me, but I'm going to be the only thing that's going to help us win this battle. And what I need you to do is convince everybody else that that's true. Now, from that scene, we chime over to Doom. Now, if you aren't familiar with Doom, he is literally one of my favorite villains of all time, Dr. Doom. He is a Fantastic Four villain, and he uses the concepts of magic and technology and fusing them, and is super OP because of that. But even in this sense, he's not powerful enough to figure out what's going on. And, Doom owns his own nation. Latveria has its own spot within the UN. I mean, it's crazy. But besides that, Doom is looking and is seeing through his machinery that something's going on. A lot of power and a lot of people just disappearing all at the same time, and he wants answers. And the only surge of power that he's seeing throughout the world at this point is in Doctor Strange's home. So his plan is, let's meet up with Doctor Strange. Now this next panel I thought was amazing. So Thanos, being as vicious as he teleports his brother Eros directly to him. He was on Earth, he's in space now. Now he binds him up in chains and is pretty much keeping him prisoner. But we'll talk about more. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. We'll actually see Eros for a bit, but he doesn't do anything. He's pretty much kept captive this whole time. Now, next scene jumps back to the Avengers, kind of going back to cataloging all the people that are missing, and actually a lot more people that would be really nice to see in the MCU, but really hoping that we see them soon. You know, Beast from X-Men, Black Panther. We have Dagger from Cloak and Dagger, Daredevil, Hawkeye disappears, Human Torch, Iceman, Invisible Woman. We have Marvel Girl and Marvel Boy, which most people really don't even know about. Mr. Fantastic disappears. Quicksilver disappears from the X-Men, The Thing, and a bunch of other people that probably really don't matter. Also, Wasp disappears, and we saw that in the movie as well. Now, going back to things in regards to how things just kind of transpire, we'll jump back to Thanos back in space. Now he's pretty much gotten Death to kind of just chill out with him for a while, and is pretty much torturing his brother Eros and Nebula in any way he can. And at one point in time, he got sick of Eros' mouth and completely just ripped it off of his face. Now, he can't speak. I mean, it doesn't mean he doesn't feel pain, but he can't speak. Now, Mephisto's still speaking to Thanos to let him know that, hey, Death really isn't appeased by this. You're really going to have to, step up the game, show her how important she is by, I guess, demonstrating your power. Now, he does that. I'm pretty sure this was in Infinity War as well, where at one point in time when the Guardians of the Galaxy met up with Thanos, they were chasing him down, and I'm pretty sure this was when he was looking for the Reality Stone. Drax the Destroyer was turned into a bunch of blocks, and one of the other characters, I forget her name, she was pretty much turned into just ribbon. Now they got that idea from this panel here. Jumping past that, Death still was not happy with this. Still is not satisfied with anything that Thanos is doing, and at this point, she's just completely silent. She's not going to interfere because she's not powerful enough, and she doesn't want him to turn on him. He is beyond pissed, and is yelling and screaming at the top of his head, what is it that I can do to gain your affection? Am I not good enough? And he releases this huge burst of just anger. And it's a lot of power. Now, he is probably, billions of light years away, and the surge of energy that he let off in that went throughout the galaxy, destroyed a good portion of just humane planets, and hits Earth. Now, this next panel, we jump to Dagger. Now, if you're familiar with the Netflix series Cloak and Dagger, well, I mean, we're with Cloak at this point. If you've seen the Netflix series of Cloak and Dagger, they're a duo. They work together. Cloak at this point is is ready to commit suicide. And she disappears and he doesn't know where she's at. Now, jumping to space, Iron Man's out in space kind of doing his own thing, working on some technology, and is completely knocked out the sky. And it comes crashing down, and on his way down, bump into the Avengers and Human Torch. Now, at this point, the US is being destroyed. I mean, California, I'm pretty sure, was completely obliterated and massive flooding. And what they're doing is looking for any way to save anybody else that's still alive. Now, Namor the Submariner, he is, king of Atlantis. I mean, he's pretty much Marvel's Aquaman, but 20 times as OP. Like, this dude is ridiculous. And all of these heroes are doing what they can to save civilians, and it's just not working. There's nothing that they can do. Now, next panel, we jump back to the Avengers. They're reaching out to whoever they can find, and all in all, end up getting in contact with Fury. Now, Fury in this one, he's not the same Samuel L. Jackson Fury that we're all used to. This is pretty sure the original Fury. It's a white guy. I mean, just a savage, pretty much the same mentality. He's just white. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, jumping past that, Avengers Tower, they're pretty much just assessing the damage and seeing that all over the world is just getting pretty much destroyed, and trying to figure out what's next. Everyone's in the dark. No one knows what's going on. Now we jump back to Doctor Strange, and during the wreckage and whatnot, Adam Warlock actually appears with his Pip the Troll. Pip the Troll, he's super old in regards to comics. You're probably not going to hear about him besides videos like this. Same with Adam Warlock. Now, Doctor Doom comes, and it's like, hey, the fuck's going on? I know you have answers. There was a spike of energy here at your place. What's going on? And Adam Warlock's like, we got war. And we're going to need all the help we can get. And actually, this is where we're going to end the video as of today. This is going to actually be a 3-part series. Next video, we'll actually talk about all the Earth heroes that will be involved in this war and actually get through about half of the battle. Now, episode 3 is going to be involving our cosmic entities, our higher power within the MCU, and then we'll bring this video to a close. Besides that, thanks again for stopping by. Definitely drop a like, a follow, and if you are interested in more Marvel related videos, definitely subscribe. This is your boy EnlightenedJiku again. Thanks and peace.